Toby?
There'll be some loads of golden nuggets on here. And for anyone that hasn't sort of joined one of these calls, it's sorry, Nick, just want to get anyone that hasn't joined one of these calls, you find that during the conversations that certainly I did at the start of all of these, and I still do it now. I certainly don't know everything. I don't profess to know everything, but when you're listening to these conversations, it triggers thoughts inside your head, and your mind goes off and assesses that thought and processes it and works out what's been said. But then by the time your brain has gone through that, although you're still listening to the conversation, you're not processing other parts that have gone through. So it's always handy to have the recording and go back over it, sometimes 2 or 3 times, because there's so many nuggets in it to help you process and understand what's being talked about.
Well, let me use one example real quick, because it's funny. It's funny to me. Because you right when I got on the phone just moments ago said you called me a legend, and I chuckled because
okay, Toby?
Sorry, oh, Sandra.
Kurt, are you here?
Sorry, what was that?
Is anybody here?
Yeah, everyone's in here. Kurtis was just explaining something. Can you hear?
Can Sandra hear us?
It's really hard to hear Toby.
No,
Yeah.
but I mean, I can't. I don't know if anybody can hear, because
Can someone talk? I'm not sure if it's what's going on. You can hear me. Is that what you're saying? All present account for, yes.
I can hear you, Sandra.
Yeah, well, I can hear
Linda, you're there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I hear Kurtis. I hear Sandra. I can hardly hear Toby.
What about now? I've turned the volume up. I don't know if that's helped.
A little.
Right, hold on.
well, I'm turning all you
Great,
guys
but
down.
I don't know
because-
what's going on that everybody is so quiet. I think Kurt is there, so I don't know what's wrong with his mic. Kurt, are you able to hear us?
No, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you, Curtis.
Toby?
Yeah, Kurt, it's coming in loud and clear.
Okay. I don't know I don't know what to do here, because
Yeah,
Sandra
No, I
can't
can't
hear.
hear anybody. Oh, am I interrupting? I can't hear anybody at all. I can't hear anything. Is anybody speaking?
Right, hold on. Let me just put something. No one can.
Well, why don't we mute everybody but me?
Okay,
How's
there's something
that?
wrong with my end. I can't hear Kurt at all. Okay, I'll try to figure it out here.
Right, hold on.
Yes, so mute everybody apart from Kurtis. Let Kurtis say what he's got to say.
Yeah. I'm just that's all. That's easier said than done. Unfortunately, I'm just trying to find where the mute all button is.
Well, while you figure that out, I'm going to get my coffee.
Sorry, Kurt, that was my fault. I plugged a new microphone into my laptop and I thought, what is going on? Nobody's talking. We're 8 minutes in here. It was my fault. I'm very sorry if I was really interruptive. Sorry about that.
It's all right. Can anybody hear? I mean, what are we going to do here?
Yeah, it's right. Can let's testing 1 2. Right, can everyone hear Kurt? Okay, just put a thumbs up or something in the chat box.
Kurt's loud and clear.
Yeah. What about me, Nate? Because Linda said she got trouble hearing me. Can you hear me? Okay.
You're still a bit low. You've been low since the start of the call. I did send you a message to say that you was low on your end.
I can hear him. We don't have to dick with this too long. I can hear Toby just fine.
Yeah. Just got to.
What about now?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's better.
Right. Okay. Cool. Right.
We're sorted. Now let's
Right.
go.
Yes. Right. So yeah, what we're saying about have you got your coffee, Kurt? Or are you
I do. I got it. I just
Brilliant.
got it. But I want to I mean, it's funny because there's a woman down in Australia that always calls me legend. And I think it's funny because I've known what a legend was for a long time. And there's almost no definition of legend that applies to me, which is interesting because we think we know what a legend is, and maybe we do, but a legend one says a story coming down from the past. Well, that's not me because I'm present. It says, especially one popularly regarded as historical, although not verifiable. Well, that's certainly not me. A body of such stories. Well, that's not me. A popular myth of recent origin. Well, I'm not a myth. A person or thing that inspires legends. Well, but that would be inspiring history. A subject of a legend. The subject of a legend. Okay, that is getting close. Because remember, a legend would have to be historical. An inscription or title on an object. Oh, such as a coin. Well, if people knew that the birth certificated character was a coin of the realm, then Kurtis Richard Kallenbach would be the title of the object was placed on deposit. That object placed on deposit is the fetal-maternal placenta. So an inscription or title on an object, such as a coin, was the example they used. And of course, Kurtis Richard Kallenbach is the coin of the realm in that Christian ecumenical economy. It's the blood sacrifice. So that's a legend. Okay, but that's not me. Then there's the caption. Two says caption. Well, that's a legend. We know that in books and things like that, or an explanatory list of the symbols on a map or chart. So realistically, I am not a legend. But it is funny because we think we know what we're saying, and even by definition, legend it presumes historical position. I'm still present, so maybe after I die, I'll become a legend.
But yeah,
but I'm not now. Anyway, Merry Xmas, Merry Christ Mass with 2 S's, MASS. Anyway,
yeah,
we should do, and we will talk about that today too, won't we?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's I think so. Being that it is the Christ Mass Eve, I think it'd be perfect opener to discuss about what Christmas really is all about. I mean, the way I Christmas to me is just it's a time where all the family get together, which doesn't happen out. They come from all different parts of the country, and we all get together and we see one another, and we eat and converse and catch up, and yeah, I mean, it used to be Christmas was seeing obviously grandparents and stuff, and seeing family. Never any religious side for me, that's for sure.
Well, in a weird sense, that's what it is. Christ Mass would be generational, or your biological generational connections. So when you said family, obviously you're thinking family or family proper, which they've distorted the family. Not that I don't think of you guys as family, but biologically you're not close enough to consider. No offense, anyone. But yeah, you think about that. Christ Mass, if the Christ Mass, MASS, were in a singular public pool, then that would make us all family. If we were all in one giant genetic DNA pool, then they would consider us family, but we would be orphans. We would be orphans because our parents, which differentiate us, aren't included. So when you really look at it that way, the orphans, it's a family of orphans, the birth certificated orphans. And with parents, i.e. the church being the mother and the state being the father, which is what's caused all the problems in the world today. They're dealing with orphan children. That's the Christ Mass, the orphan children. And of course, my wife, Debbie, and I were talking about this earlier this morning, believe it or not. The the here the Pledge of Allegiance, which is interesting how much has changed since the late 1800s up until what's, I guess, spoken today. But it's I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Pretty much, my family really only consists of my lineage, my bloodline. Wherever that takes me, I don't even know at this point, but wherever that takes me, that's my family. So they've distorted it. They've put us all under the church as mother and the state as father, and this is supposed to be one global family. I think that's a crock of shit, because again, who was it that Nietzsche or whoever said, you put everybody together so there's one neck to chop? That's what this is, one neck to chop, one head, one political body, and one neck to chop, and which is what they've been doing to us for the better part of 70 years. But Christmas to me is exactly what you said, Toby. Man, I've always loved it. It's just people seem to be nicer this time of year. I think it can be like that all year, I'll be honest with you. But it's always seemed to be different around this time of year. People seemed more giving and what have you. But man, I love it. I mean, I still, to this day, at 64 years old plus, I still love it. I still feel it. So, I'm glad that at least you guys wanted to get together for a few minutes today. Not with a legend. Not with a legend. Anyway, what do you guys want to do?
Yeah, well, Nate, what was he? John said he's going to join us. I don't know whether he managed to hear what what I said earlier, that he's just got his children, and he's just going to jump in a little bit late. But yeah, Nate, there's a few. I mean, let's talk about what's going on. I mean, because this is coming to the end of the Gregorian calendar 2023, and I don't know about you or other people, that there seems to be there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes within the government, their system. Obviously, I can only predominantly speak for the UK, but certainly with stuff that I'm seeing, there's a lot more. I know it's all their cases, it's their system, etc., etc. But there seems to be a lot of I don't know, not rebel. I know that the court system, the judiciary over here, from when I was in Crown Court recently, right, the parrot's going to just start pissing everyone off. So let me just go and try and pick him up. Well, yeah, he's just took off his perch and now he's sitting on my shoulder. Right, yes, yeah, one of the judges. All right. One of the judges was saying in the court. She said that because of the case that was going on, she said that the judiciary is in serious ill health at the moment. This is about 6 months ago. And I think that in light of the direction that's the light that's being shone on this fraud and deception, that it's going to be in an even more shit state come 2024.
Well, was the word judiciary?
Yeah, judiciary.
Let's just go to that definition real quick, because again, she chose the word, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
It says a system. The judiciary at Webster says a system of courts of law. B, the judges of these courts. And then 2 says a branch of government in which judicial power is vested.
Right. A
branch of government. Think about that. A branch of government, an offshoot, grafting, where something, a piece of one plant is grafted to another plant, creating a new branch or a fictitious branch or whatever. I mean, I'm not even stretching it here. I'm just saying a branch of government. To me, something is either the government or it is not. This says a branch of government in which judicial power is vested. So I'm going to go to judicial real quick. And this is going to be interesting because I think we're supposed to be executives over our own lives. They're using the word executive, but let's see what judicial says. Yeah, this is amazing. So I'm at Webster still. It says judicial says of or relating to a judgment. Of or relating to a judgment, the function of judging, the administration of justice, or the judiciary. Remember what happens when we evidence the breath, B-R-E-A-T-H, breath, and breath is spirit. Remember, so if we're breathing, I mean, hell, even their Yahweh, the spelling of Yahweh is the spelling of breathing, the breath itself. So Yahweh, their God or some idea of God is the breath, the spirit. Go to Webster's and look up breath and it'll say spirit at number 6. But then you go to 1 Corinthians 2:15 and it says the spiritual man shall be judged by no man. Now, so if you're breathing, you're not to be judged by another man. So look at the judicial definition of judicial now, of or relating to judgment, the function of judging, the administration of justice, or the judiciary. Now, you can't be judged if you're breathing by another man. So she says, what? Something about the judiciary
Yeah,
being what?
He's in serious ill health at the moment.
It's in ill health.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I mean, they're losing their ability to judge because people are waking up.
Yeah.
And what waking up to me means is that they're evidencing life. And now we're talking about the Sedeke Vice 1666, where it says when a man proves life, he's revested with his title. And now all of a sudden ownership kicks in. And of course, ownership, their private property and ownership, there's no taxable position there. So look what happens when we wake up. I mean, their entire system to judge or put us in a position of being judged by somebody. It goes out the window. Let me keep reading judicial here because it gets to something really interesting. It says belonging to the branch of government that is charged with trying all cases that involve the government and with the administration of justice within its jurisdiction. And it says compare executive or legislative. By the way, Linda, you on this thing still?
Yes, sir.
When I started thinking about the Senate, I mean, and the Roman Senate and the power and authority of the Senate, I realized that if I want to tap into, or if I want to get a letter to the Senate here, I'm talking about the United States. Who is the president? Vice president.
The vice president. Yeah, the vice president.
So if I want to get this information, what we're doing here, or this letter to the Senate, which is ultimately I think it's the head. It's the head. If I want to get my letter to the head of the Senate, I have to get it to the vice president, because the vice president is the president of the Senate, which is interesting. Think about it. You got the president of the United States, but then you have the president of the Senate, which is the vice president of the United States. I mean, what if we've been misled as to where the authority is? What a weird thought. Anyway, let me finish judicial real quick, and then I'm going to shut the hell up for a bit. It says trying all cases that involve the government. Well, what's a case? What is the case? Every case is the extra embryonic material that surrounded us. Our own biology is the case. It surrounded us in the womb. That is the case. And when we come out of the womb, we leave behind our case. And what do? They establish a piece of paper, certificate, a brief case, a case that holds the brief, or the brief that establishes the briefcase. But the case is biological. So it says is charged with trying all cases. What happens when a case, Toby, what happens if you're still using the biology? What if you're still using the biology that was created at fertilization? Is there a case separate from you?
Well, there's only a case against the birth certificated person, isn't there?
No. There isn't a case at all. Because if you're still using that biology, you're using all of it from the beginning.
First,
So
can I point out something there that I think is really beneficial for people to get when they hear the case, and this is what sticks out for me all the time, because it's with the Larceny Act 1916, especially in this place we call Ireland. The case is based on the car case. So if there is no car case, if you're not dead and you're not using the car case, then there is no case. A case is only for the dead, it's not for the living.
Yeah, think of it. Roadkill out in the middle of the street. There's a carcass, the body of a dead animal, carcass. That's what Sandra just said.
Yes.
It's a car case. The case is a carcass.
In the 1916 Larceny Act, it says, it is, I'm paraphrasing, but you can get it yourself. Avril can actually put it up here. She got it here yesterday. It's okay to claim the carcass of a beast after it's been abandoned. But if you haven't abandoned it, there is no case.
And there it is. The whole idea is that, and the reason I was asking you, Toby, about this is that if you're still using it, this is the key to everything. If you're still breathing life into that biology, if you're still using it today from fertilization to this moment, all present and accounted for, nothing missing, then there is no abandoned biology. There is no possible case. And if there's no case, then the case itself, the biology, that biology is sitting on a particular piece of ground, and that ground happens to be the accretion, the maternal part of the uterine wall. That's the ground. So now your biology has fallen to this ground, which evidences a case that they're going to try. What happens if you're still using it? If you're still using that biology, there is no missing piece, there is no case, and so everything falls apart in their world because they require that dead body, that carcass, as Sandra pointed out. They require it. If they don't have that, remember, that's why they got rid of habeas corpus. They need a body. And if they have the biology, the left behind human remains, the afterbirth remains, they have evidence of a body. They have evidence of a crime, for crying out loud. Hell, it's on the back cover. It's on the back cover of the book.
With the habeas corpus, you see, up until 1863, they needed the whole body in order for the slavery to occur. But under the Lieber, after the Lieber codes, Francis Lieber, 1863, they suspended, or the Habeas Corpus Suspension Act of 1863. They found a way of holding a piece of the body on record without actually having to hold the whole body, which was the accretion, which is what Kurtis is talking about.
Well, the whole body is the man. No, that's not true. The whole body is the man. So yes. when the rest of that fetal biology shows up in court, I'm actually perfecting their case. If they have a piece of my biology, the case itself, the case that I was surrounded in, my own biology, not the accretion, my own biology. So they got a piece of my biology, the case, and then I show up, the fetus, baby man that completes that case. That's perfection.
Yeah.
But then I'm perfecting their claim.
Yes, because you're given the subject, which is the title, and the matter, which is the case. By showing up.
No.
Okay, explain.
No, I'm just saying that's not true. You got to be careful here because I am the case. I and the case are one and the same thing. Exactly. There is no differentiation in biology at all. So what they have on their record, their public record, is that biology. They're calling it the case.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm using it, then what they're holding is null. It's void, because that record it cannot be accurate. So until I show up in their courtroom as the living remains, the rest of that biology, once the rest of that biology shows up in the courtroom, they have the front end of it, and then I show up as the rest of it, that I've perfected their claim. But it's all my biology. This doesn't have anything to do with mom's biology. I'm the collateral damage to their claim.
Which is why the judiciary is in serious ill health, because if more and more people are coming to be alive, they've got nothing to adjudicate or judge over, because like there is no like there is no
Well,
case.
And let me finish with judicial here, because it says too, ordered or enforced by a court, ordered or enforced by a court, not the court but a court. So whatever they determine to be court. Now, I know that the definition in Black's law is the person and suit of the sovereign. That's the court. The person and suit of the sovereign is the court. That's it. That's all of my biology. The person and suit of the sovereign. Think about this. I show up in their theater. I show up breathing, living, the spirit itself in this body. And they have a piece of this body on the record. Now, I show up, have this. Oh, here's the rest of it now. It just showed up. And that's me. And then I have the breath or the spirit. So now they have the court. Now I don't even know I'm the court. Everything out of my mouth is they're going to do. They're going to do everything I tell them to do. If they say, what's your birthday? And I give them a birthday, I have just convicted myself. I've convicted myself out of my belief, whether it doesn't matter. It could be a belief in Jesus, or it could believe a belief in a birthday. It doesn't matter which one. But either way, I am now participating. I've handed over all my power to them, because they're using a record, a decedent to state record, and I'm coming in as next of kin, or I'm coming in as something that is now going to testify against that. Now, here in the United States, you can't testify against yourself, but myself, my biology consists of 46 chromosomes. The biology they have on a record is 92 chromosomes. It has some of mine and some of mom's. So I'm not testifying against me if I testify against the birth certificated person, because that person has 92 chromosomes. So they've gotten around this stuff. Even though I am part of that 92 chromosomes, I'm collateral. So I become the collateral damage. I become the surety, which is the collateral for their court actions. It's going to make more sense in a second when I finish up with the definition of judicial. But the point is that they're doing what we're telling them to do. The breath of God is our own breath. When my breath, when the air crosses my vocal cords, that's the spirit. That's the breath of God vibrating across these cords and telling those group of people in that room what to do. I just don't know that I'm damning myself with every word I speak. But anyway, it goes on. Number 3 says belonging or appropriate to a judge or the judiciary. And then finally, or 4 says of, characterized by, or expressing judgment, critical. But number 5 is where it's all at. It says arising from a judgment of God. That's judicial. Arising from a judgment of God. Understand that you're self-destructing when you go into that courtroom. It's self-destruct with these asinine beliefs, whether it be a birthday or salvation. It doesn't matter which one, because they're both condemning you. You're condemned by your own voice, by your own admission. There's no way around this. So what happens if we wake up? It says arising from a judgment of God. What if the judgment of God is innocence? If I started fertilization and I'm here today, that's the position of innocent. From fertilization to last breath is innocent. I'm innocent at creation, and as long as I'm using that biology today, I'm innocent. As long as I'm using that biology today, I'm innocent. As long as that biology is filled with the Spirit of God, the breath itself, I'm innocent. But the moment I claim or give, I allow for a birth certificated decedent estate where there is no breath, there is no spirit, there is no God, I've condemned myself. That's upon my own judgment. Judge, jury, and executioner. Happy birthday, Kurt. Yeah, there it is right there. I've just killed myself. I sacrificed myself for the greater good. The greater good. No, thank you. I don't want to participate in that communism. But what happens when we wake up? That's my point. What happens when you know your biology from fertilization to this moment is continuous and contiguous, unbroken, no fault, F-A-U-L-T, no fault, no cut. If you get in front of the cut, it's not your fault. If you claim a birth, it is your fault. Now you have a fault. And birth certificated persons have only two positions, guilty or not guilty. That's it. Is that, Toby, is it like that over there? Guilty or not guilty?
Yeah, it is. I was in Crown Court back in 2012, and I went in and I said I'm innocent 3 times. The judge threw his pen down and steam was coming out of his ears. And that was one of the first time I come into. I was sort of challenging the judiciary at the high level, and I was coerced or whatever into entering a plea. But yeah, it is. They will only accept guilty or not guilty.
What's another word for plea?
Where's the beg?
To pray. It's a prayer. To plea is a beg, but it's to plea is to pray. So again, there's if you're pleading, I mean, think of yourself on your knees looking into the heavens, pleading to God. What happens if you have God in you? What if you're filled with the Spirit of God? You don't need any of these middlemen. You don't need to have some judgment placed upon you by another man, because you're living. And until you breathe your last breath, you're innocent. I mean, you're truly innocent unless you committed an actual crime, a trespass of some sort, but you're actually innocent until proven guilty. When you claim a birth certificated character, you're only guilty or not guilty. That's the original sin. That's the original sin. Taking on that birth certificated character is putting on a fig leaf because you're ashamed of your origin. You're ashamed of your nakedness. So you have to put on this fictional character, this character. But you don't have to do that when you know yourself. When you know thyself all the way back, you're authentic. That's your nakedness. Your authenticity is your nakedness. You don't have to clothe yourself in some ridiculous birth certificated character. Anyway, innocence begins at fertilization. One moment you didn't exist, the next moment you did, and there's no middleman. It's just you and God. Sorry, that's the truth. That's the absolute truth. Done. We're done with that. Now what? Now you're innocent all the way through the rest of your life, unbroken. From that moment to this moment, one biology, one innocent biology. What happens when you claim the birth certificated decedent estate? Well, now your innocence is gone. Why? Because you've chosen to put on the fig leaf, the figure leaf. What's the leaf? The folio page. What's the folio page? The certificated person. So now you're putting on the fig leaf out here in the fictional realm, and you've turned your back on God. That's it. There's your sin right there. Turning your back on God. And what is the sin? What's another definition for sin? Debt. Well, what happens when you claim the birth certificated character? There's a debt, because you don't have any inheritable position. You're a pauper, vagabond, or fugitive from justice because you've been cut off from your own inheritance, your own legitimacy. That's why I'm saying this is a world of orphans, because by claiming the cut, by claiming a fault, you're orphaned from your creator or source, and that's God, and that's all your energy. That's all of your value. That's all of your worth. And by cutting yourself off from that worth, you become what? A beggar. It's all connected. It's so simple when you see it. It's so simple. But from fertilization to last breath, you're truly innocent. But when you claim that birthday, when you claim the birth certificated character, you are at fault, and now you have no connection to your value, your bank account back at origin or source or legitimacy, and that is your father's name, your father's trade name, the industrial property of your legitimate existence. And now you're cut off. And you need somebody to reconnect you in that space, and that's the Bar Association. So that's the administrative process. So they're helping you get back to where your value is located, which is the source or origin, and they're pretending to administrate that estate or that situation for you, and they're taking a fee for it. What I'm getting at, it's too simple. From fertilization to last breath, you're innocent. And if you're innocent, these administrative courts have no work. If you're innocent, these administrative courts have no work because they don't have any characters. Fire is gone. The Gregorian calendar, civil character is gone. And if that Roman civil character born, B-O-R-N-E, to the Gregorian calendar doesn't exist, administrative courts have no work. That's the only character they work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurt, can I play for a second?
Please do. Somebody help me. Somebody stop me.
Oh, I looked up trying in etymology, and it says from the 1718 distressing. So then I looked up distressing, and it says contract, suffer, compelled by pain, blah. But when you go to the 14th century, it says afflict with mental or physical pain, make miserable. The early 15th century, to damage, specifically damage to a piece of furniture to make it appear older. And so if we go back to the definition of belonging to a branch of government that is charged with so you can say charged with distressing all cases that involve the government. So anyway, it was just amusing to me that trying means distressing, and distressing is about furniture, and we know the history of furniture.
And we know what furniture is. By the way, one last thing, because you brought up the concept of government. Listen to how simple this is.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm sitting downstairs 6 feet under in the basement at my computer. My physical body is what I have to work with. This body right here, this body. But on top of the shoulders of this body is my mind. It's my ability to govern thyself. It's my self-government. On this body, on this piece of me right here, this body has the ability to self-govern. But a piece of me was cut off at the port of entry to the new world beyond the womb. And that piece of me doesn't have this government attached to it anymore. It's been cut off from this government, this biology, hasn't it? Toby?
In their world.
When they clamp and cut the umbilical cord, do they not cut that piece off and separate it from this government, the government I have right here, right now, the head? Didn't they cut the umbilical cord and the extra embryonic material and separate it from my brain?
Yes.
So that piece of me it is no longer governed by my position, my presence. It's been cut off of me. So now if it gets picked up, presumably abandoned or whatever, that biology has no government. But it has a title, Kurtis Richard Kallenbach. So Kurtis Richard Kallenbach doesn't have a government until a government is given to it. And that government could be a church government, it could be a state government, but it doesn't have my own government because I have presumably abandoned that piece of me. So there's a piece of me that's on the record that doesn't have a government. That piece of me gets subjected to some other government if I abandon it. What happens if I include it in my statement, all present and accounted for from fertilization and last breath? Now, am I the government over that piece? Yes or no? Yes.
Yeah.
If even though it was cut off of me, am I not its government by making the statement, all present? I am all present and accounted for from fertilization and last breath. That means I am governing that piece of me as well with the knowledge of fertilization.
Yeah.
Okay. So now when people say the government, They're never speaking for me because my government is upon my shoulders. Isaiah 9:6. My government is upon my own shoulders. And if I recognize all of me from fertilization to this moment, then I'm the government over all of it. There is no confusion of governments here. I'm self-governing all the way back to fertilization. What they've done is they've created a position, my biology now, that is not governed by me. That piece of me gets placed onto a deposit, and it is governed by the managers of that material, that fund or that deposit. Somebody else is governing that, and I'm out. I'm out because Kurtis Richard Kallenbach, the birth certificated person, has all the names and numbers, and they're using only that character. What happens when I am one? What happens when I am one from fertilization to last breath? What happens to their game?
Over.
It's over. And that's what's happening here. You heard it out of the mouth of somebody over there in that system saying their judiciary, they're having a problem. Why? Because they don't have anything to work with when we wake up. When we know that we are all present and accounted for from fertilization to last breath, and we're breathing today, this moment, this present moment, then we are self-governing. We're self-determining. And now there's no way for any of these corporate governments to make any claims over their fictional franchise persons. It's gone. That's why this is too easy. From fertilization to last breath, I am the government. I'm my own government. When somebody says the government, it presumes a different government than themselves. When I hear people, patriots especially, well, the government this and the government that. Well, that's not my government. That's, if you want to claim the corporate position, the corporate fiction, the what is it? The juridical person. Yeah, that's a corporate position requiring a corporate government. But if you're breathing, filled with the Spirit of God, then it's just you and God. There is no external government. The Constitution of the United States, 1789, is not my Constitution. My Constitution is mind, body, and spirit. That's my Constitution, mind, body, and spirit. The Constitution for corporate fictions, for corporate franchises, here is the Constitution of the United States, 1789. That's not my Constitution. Therefore, that's not my government. The Bill of Rights was put in place for the living to be protected from that corporate government. But you got to be living in order for the Bill of Rights to apply. So the Second Amendment that says you have the right to bear arms, that's only for the living. It's not for the corporate decedent estate. Corporate decedent estates are subject to the rules of the corporation. The living man is not. So I don't have to, when you get all the way back to reality, when you understand reality and you're linked to God, you don't need a middleman. When you get to that position, then here the Bill of Rights apply and it's all real. But if you're claiming a birth certificated decedent estate, you're not living. And now you're subjecting yourself to a corporate handbook, that says you can't have guns. You don't have any rights. You need our mall cops to protect you from other traders, from other merchants within the system. I'm sorry, I'm not a merchant. Okay, something's happening here. Anyway, thank you, Linda.
It was interesting because this whole the God thing. We spoke about it the other day. Where is what the government, the system, the church and stuff is what they've done intentionally is to separate God from us individually, to make it be an object or outside of us, and
but it's not.
Sorry,
it's not. But it's not outside of us. Hell, the breath itself is called the spirit. Yeah. And the spirit is what animates or gives life to our own biology. It's not outside there. It's not out there somewhere. It's within us.
Yeah, and that's why they've done it intentionally. So then we're not to stop people from looking within and to be looking out, to be relying upon outside influences or bodies.
Well, they got everybody. They have a mantra. I mean, and it's been going on since I was I was little. I mean, seriously, you know, there are people that say we were made in the image of God. Wasn't. I wasn't made. I'm not the image of anything. I am it. I didn't exist until the first cell existed, and then I existed in my entirety. So one cell with my 46 chromosomes is me today. It's the acorn and the oak tree. It's all one thing. It's all one existence. It's all one estate. And that one estate, no matter how many pieces they cut me up into, it's still only one godly estate. They could put me through a meat grinder, a wood chipper right now, and all the pieces of me flying all over the place. I know it's ridiculous sounding, but the fact is that wherever a piece of me, including every single cell, blood cell, white blood cell, it doesn't matter. Every piece of me still only amounts to one godly estate. It doesn't matter how many pieces of me there are. It doesn't matter how many persons they create off the birth certificate situation. There's only one godly estate for me. So that's what we have to recognize, is that it's the one. It's understanding that there's only one of you from the beginning, from one cell to this moment. What else did they do, Toby? They said that evolution is a no-no. Well, guess what? I evolved from a single cell to a multi-cell, a multi-trillion cell entity sitting here speaking right now. It's all the same biology. One cell to this. If you can't see evolutionary process in that, you're an idiot. I began as a single cell. That's it. I'm sorry. That's hard for people to believe. Well, I didn't come from monkeys. Well, I didn't say anything about monkeys, did I? I came from a zygote, a single cell zygote to this moment. That has nothing to do with monkeys. But the church got you to believe that evolutionary process is about man coming from a monkey. Evolutionary process is exactly what I went through, and everybody else listening to this call too. From one cell to this moment is evolutionary process. You don't even have to agree with evolution at all. But if you're listening to this call, you evolved. You evolved whether you like it or not. If you want to stay the monkey, seriously, if you want to stay the monkey and follow the church into the pits of hell, keep doing it. But you don't get to be here now if you don't accept evolution. If you don't accept the evolutionary process, then you might as well stay back there in the womb. But I'm pretty sure your Bible said to come out of her. Well, you know what? If you don't accept evolution, you can't come out of her. You can't come out of her at all, because you're going to be stuck at that single cell position. Because evolution, from the very first cellular subdivision, is evolutionary process. If you don't believe in evolutionary process, good luck. Good luck.
Seamus has got his hand up for a little while. I think he wants to ask a question. And there's also another thing about looking up on Merriam-Webster's, which is interesting. I want to get into that because it's to do with Ireland. I clicked on the Seamus to unmute.
By the way, let me say this real quick. The best book I've ever seen. I know it's kind of hard to find now, on Christmas. And because I'm a hardcore Santa Claus guy, by the way, Santa Claus. Everybody, when I say Santa Claus, everybody has a picture in their head of Santa Claus, right? I know I do, but actually, Santa Claus is nothing more than the Saint Clause. The Saint Clause. It's an insurance policy clause. It's a rider policy that you accept on the 25th of December. So you're accepting an insurance clause, a clause in a contract, which is an insurable position, and it's based upon the sacrifice of Jesus. So Santa Claus and Jesus are hand in hand in this nonsense, and the Santa Claus is the insurable part that was cut off of you. And you can see the Santa Claus itself is evidence that one USC 8, where they're talking about the infant member, that's what's being insured by the Santa Claus, the Saint Claus. Anyway, the book is called When Santa Was a Shaman. Right. And it's When Santa Was a Shaman, and it's by Tony Van Rentergem. Tony, Tony space Van VAN space Rentergem, Rentergem. And I'm telling you right now, it's the best Christmas book I've ever seen. It's explaining a lot of stuff that most people will never know, and I've had it for years. It is hard to find, by the way. I thank God I bought it years ago. It's probably going to cost you $50 or $100 to get it today. I know I can sell mine for a couple $100 probably. but I won't.
Was
But
it-
yeah,
what was that? What was that other book that you got the other day from Rothschild? The
oh, yeah, Lord Rothschild in 1958 wrote a book called Fertilization.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
yeah, I've have you received it yet? Have you
No, I won't. It's coming from the UK, so it's actually going to be. I think they said the first week of January I'll be getting it.
Yeah, that's going to be
But,
interesting.
it is a first edition from the UK, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, because didn't you have him friend request you, or someone called David Rothschild friend request you on Facebook, didn't you?
Yeah, that was pretty funny because I ordered that book from UK, and then within a week I got a friend request. I don't know, just a few days ago from a David D. Rothschild. And it's funny because it looked legitimate. He had 3.2 million friends on Facebook, and I thought, Debbie knows a little bit about some of the Facebook type stuff, and she said it's almost, you can't fake that number. You can't fake the friends number because it originates with Facebook. You don't get them. I don't get to make up Kurtis R. Kallenbach with 18.5 million followers or friends. I can't just make up that number. It's done by Facebook itself. So I can't just fill in the blanks and say I have 3.2 million followers or friends. Well, so this David D. Rothschild sent me a friend request, and I thought, well, that could be real. It could be legitimate because of the number of friends, but it also could be legitimate because of what I speak about, which is truth. And we hate all these people that have all this wealth and power. But what if it's us? What if it's us giving it to them? I mean, this is going to be a big, hard pill to swallow. But what if by us claiming stupid birthdays, which don't exist in nature, they're arbitrary? What if us exist, claiming the need for salvage or salvation? What if it's our own admissions and claims which which put all our property in? This is what I'm seeing. So when I get this friend request from a David de Rothschild, who's head of the Rothschild dynasty, I'm thinking it could be legitimate. It could be legitimate because, well, I should just read. I should just read what he wrote to me. It's pretty funny. Maybe I can't because I blocked him. I blocked him anyway. Yeah, I maybe I can't. Man, you know what? Screw it. I can't do it because I blocked him. What if it was legitimate? What if I blocked David the Rothschild? Because I didn't believe it could be possible that an 81-year-old wealthiest man on the planet type of thing, controlling everything in the world. Why would he be on Facebook at all?
Yeah.
Now, Facebook is everybody is on Facebook, so it would be a great place to see what's happening in the world because everybody is dealing with it. But why would a man that runs the world pretty much ever be on Facebook? He wouldn't be. Somebody that one of his minions or somebody within his staff would probably be doing it, representing him, but he wouldn't be doing it. But some of the things he asked seemed pretty legitimate. And then I just thought, you know what, this has to be something else, and I just had to block him. I actually wished it was him, but I still had to block him. So,
yeah, well, you never know. Stranger things have happened. If you're obviously getting close to the ground, because they do like to spy on us and to keep an eye on us to see what we're up to. Because I'm a firm believer in that change has never come from change has only ever come from within and from the ground up. Change is only from grassroots movements. It's never been from top down or within inside organisations because they've got themselves into a financial tie position in a high paying job because that's how they get promoted to keep their mouth shut. That even though they're in this position and they've got established themselves a lifestyle afforded to that with all the expensive cars, houses and land and holidays and all the rest of it, they can't speak out because if they do, they're going to lose everything. So, and would like to believe that there's a lot of people within the system, right across the board, right across the spectrum, from top down, that there's people that are wanting change, that wanting us to come through, and people like yourself, and people to open up and to be able to change the system, because they're not going to be able to do it.
Well, and here's the thing is, if people read what, you know, I write, or use what I write, or I mean, one of the best examples I've ever heard, and Sandra actually read me a letter that she wrote, and the letter was so amazing, and it was damaging, not because it was intended to be damaging, it was damaging because it was the truth. And it was only damaging to those people that were using reality against somebody that actually knows the truth, because then it would be a trespass. So, I mean, one of the greatest letters I've ever heard was one that Sandra read to me that she had written. But what the neat thing about it is, it wasn't a threat. It wasn't saying I'm putting you in jail, you're gonna be hanging from the trees. The truth doesn't need that. The truth just needs to be.
Bart,
Yeah.
I combined your knowledge. I combined what I'd learned on your classes with what I'd learned myself, and through lived experience of being held hostage and making those mistakes. And I was actually thinking there, I'd like if you would. Are you wanting to read your letter yet? Are you in a position to read that one? Because
no, you're talking about not yet, because I think we should talk about it, and in fact we should talk about it, because and again, I think it might be. And by the way, since I think you guys have seen it, it has been tweaked a little more. Sorry, I can't help myself.
You're not going to read that letter today, then? That you're not.
I can't, because first of all, I mean, we can talk about it, but I don't want people to use it. There's only a few of us that even know what it means, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but this letter is so well written. I think it's the greatest letter I've ever written.
I think so too. Well, I agree, and I know so. I know it's the greatest letter you've ever written. I thought that's what you were going to do today. So, what if I read the letter that I wrote?
Well, no, I don't think that works either. There's a reason for that. People, I mean, I understood every word you said, but this is too much information for most people. I mean, I don't mind talking about the letters.
Yeah.
Because if I say this is the greatest letter I've ever written, and anybody can use it, by the way, and I do mean that, but you have to know what it means.
The reason the letter that I wrote, and the reason we brought, even though it was written just more than 3 months ago, even though the reason why it's so amazing right now is because when I wrote this to the United Nations ambassador, Antonio Guterres, I had asked him to evoke Article 99 of the United States Code, and at that point he wasn't in a position to do so. And now all of a sudden it's been all over the news. If you look up any site, any Sky News, any RTE News, any news around the world, you will see that he has tried to evoke the Article 99 that I had written in this letter 3 months prior. In my world, it's too late for that. They should have done it 3 months ago. I'm not accepting for it to do it right now. Now it's all or nothing. I'm not playing here anymore. You know, but
well, that's what you. But look at the power. You didn't. It's not a threat. It's just the truth coming to light. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden, the people that are in these offices that are pretending to use these deposits, these biological deposits, as the funding, the source of the energy, the source of their money system, all of a sudden, when the truth comes out and the biology, these biological deposits that give rise to these birth certificated systems, when people find out that that's aborted fetal tissue that's on deposit, aborted because it's cut. When it's cut off of you, it's an abortion. And when they clamp and cut the umbilical cord, that's an abortion. So baby goes home with mom and dad typically, but then the aborted fetal tissue stays behind as human waste, or as human remains, which gives rise to the birth certificated decedent estate. And of course, if there's a decedent estate in place or in play, then you don't exist. It's one or the other. If there's a decedent version of you, then you lose your voice. You lose the ability to speak for yourself, because it's the record, the recorded infancy that is on the record. And if you admit to the birth certificate or birthday, then the record comes into play. And if the record comes into play, it's an infant. And of course, infants don't have legal capacity, which then requires the help of the Bar Association. And so what they've created is a system that no living being can participate in. And maybe that's a good place, because we were going to talk about the deposit itself. I think that either John or Toby, you were talking about the deposit, but let's do this. This letter, the letter that I wrote, and by the way, I think at some point your letter should be read, because, but when people are a little further along. I
get you as well. And to be honest with you, my letter and everything I wrote and as written in it, as you well know, is still in play. It's been played out in the media as we speak right now. This is the genocide position that's going on in the news, in this war that they discuss is the genocide position, because again, fictitio sidit veritati. There is no legal fiction where there is a truth. And if you were in truth and knowing of the matter, and they still try to hang their beliefs on your system, it's more than a trespass, it's an actual genocide. That's what's at play here. This is how big this is. And to be honest, anything that becomes from the private and into the public is no longer private. So yes, I certainly will love everybody. I know that the letter that Kurtis has written is one day going to be archived in some museum somewhere. And this one beside it also. And I just say it in a fact, these letters are going to be somewhere, because these are what's been the driving force behind what you see in the media right now. So it's all been played out. It's all to play for still, you know.
Yeah, I think that's
well.
Sorry, Captain. I think the Joe, you brought up that you've written a letter to the UN. I don't know whether you must have read my mind, but that was before you go on to the deposit, Kurt, was to give like an overview of where the UN fit in with all because the UN's obviously the global, where they fit in and what part they play.
They're acting as umbilical cord, the federal line between God and man. So they're the middleman between they're the middleman that's administering all of this right now. The characters. But if you know your origin, the United Nations can't operate.
Well, let me just use their words.
Mm-hmm.
This is taken right from Chapter 1, Purposes and Principles, Article 1 of the United Nations Charter. This is their words. And this is in the letter, by the way. It says, to maintain international peace and security, and to that end, to take effective collective measures for the prevention and removal of threats to the peace, and for the suppression of acts of aggression or other breaches of the peace, and to bring about by peaceful means and in conformity with the principles of justice and international law, adjustment or settlement of international disputes or situations which might lead to a breach of the peace. Now, here's the thing. It says to maintain international peace and security, and to that end, to take effective collective measures. To take effective collective measures. To take effective collective measures is the clamping and cutting of the umbilical cord and taking that fetal biology. Now, what does that mean? When they take the umbilical cord and your extra embryonic material, which is still attached to mom's uterine wall, which is the accretion itself, the placenta, when they have on deposit the umbilical cord and the placenta, the feto-maternal placenta, that is the measure. That's the cut. The measure and cut are the same word. So it's an amount, a quantity of something. But it's taking. The taking is the larceny. When they take it away from me, it becomes larceny. So they're using at the UN as of what, 1946, 1945, they're saying we're going to place on deposit this biology that we control. That's the collective measures, meaning we're going to collect all of this biology from all these people at the hospitals at the port of entry to the fictional realm. We're going to collect all that biology and put it into one giant public pool. And that becomes the public. That's the public itself. And the public has our DNA in it. But it's all based upon Rome's claim to the human creature that you've heard of in Unum Sanctum 1302. The human creature is the afterbirth, which is the placenta. And of course, we're connected to that through the umbilical cord. But what's interesting is it says, and to that end. They're talking about keeping the peace, but they can keep the peace, but only through an act of violence, an initial act of violence, which is cutting and clamping, or clamping and cutting the umbilical cord, and trespassing upon your own biology, your godly estate. They need to take that godly estate, because that's what gives them the authority, the godly authority. They're putting God on deposit. That's the one nation under God. That's the Sedeke Vai trust deposit. That's God. They now have God on deposit because it evidences your godly origin. Me out here talking and screaming and hollering and getting angry and sitting down 6 feet under in my basement, I'm the fruit of the zygote. The zygote's my father, and I'm the fruit of it, like the acorn and oak tree. I'm the oak tree, the acorn's the zygote. I come from the zygote, but I and my father are one. So that's all one biology. But when they place that material on deposit, they have my to God on deposit. That's why the deposit's so important. And they're calling those collective measures. But it says, and to that end, in other words, to maintain international peace and security. Now, security is exactly that. It's a bailment. It's a deposit. So you put a piece of you on deposit, which secures your position internationally, not locally, not domestically. Internationally is the only place that you can actually get what I'm going to call justice at the international level. And of course, that's the only place. The United Nations is, but they're doing it by taking a piece of you. And I'm going to do one last thing here before I go on, is that the definition of war, W-A-R at Merriam-Webster's, to be, as in to be or not to be a struggle or competition between opposing forces or for a particular end. A particular end. That's the cut end. So everybody's warring over God, your origin, your godly origin. Everybody is at war or in competition for God, which is our origin. And that piece of us that evidences our godly origin has been placed on deposit. And that's at the UN level, and that's the placenta, the feto-maternal placenta, evidences our godly origin. So that's why the deposit's so important. When you understand what they're using to give them authority, that's the public record. The record evidences that deposit. That deposit evidences your direct link to God. When you are out here, when I'm sitting in my basement, disconnected from God, it looks, by the record, according to the record, I've turned my back on God, which I haven't, because I'm still using the godly material that was provided at the zygote, which is where the birthday comes. It becomes so damaging. When I claim a birthday, I cut myself off from God. And that's where all my money is. That's where all my value is. That's where all my energy is. So when I claim a birthday, I become a pauper. I become a mendicant, a spiritual mendicant. I have no money. And that's where the debt comes in. Somebody's loaning me money now at some point because I don't have any of my own. I've cut myself off from my source. And that's how they're manipulating everything. The truth is so easy. It's so simple. From fertilization to this moment, I'm one. And if I'm one, I have all my own money. I own everything I've ever produced, mentally, physically, spiritually. It doesn't matter. I own it all. As opposed to having all my shit placed in trust because I'm missing, presumed dead. That's what they're using. They're presuming everybody missing or dead so they can maintain this trust, this bailment situation. And it's run then by the Bar Association around the world. And the church, of course, is part of this, or all churches, by the way, are participating in this. All accounting as guilty. All hospitals are participating. I mean, you can't get away from this because everybody's involved with this trespass, this initial first trespass, the cutting of the umbilical cord. The entire system relies upon that deposit, which is why the deposit's so important. But again, the definition of war at to be or not to be. I mean, Shakespeare said it, to be or not to be or not to be. And what is to be? It's a competition for a particular end. Particular means separate from the whole. It's a piece. Did somebody jump in there? So,
Or,
yeah.
what did it say in that about effective about the UN?
It says, the first sentence says, maintain international peace and security, comma, and to that end, semicolon, or colon, to take effective collective measures for the prevention and removal of threats to the peace.
So I looked up effective in Merriam-Webster's,
Okay.
and it says producing a decided, effective, decisive decision or effect. But number 3 says being in effect operative. 3 is actual, and it says the need to increase effective demand for goods underneath it as the example.
And what's the definition of goods?
Yeah, unborn of animals. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's more than that. I mean, goods includes the unborn of animals, which is the the aborted
cut
fetal. It's the unborn version of yourself. But then it says, and other identified things attached to realty as fixtures. Well, identified things, entity, identified things attached. Well, again, the placenta has my biology. They give it an identity, and then it's attached to realty, my mom's land, the motherland. So a piece of me in the placenta is also identified things attached to realty. My house, my biology attached to mom in the placenta. That's that other part. Identified things attached to realty as fixtures. So yeah, they have it every way they want it based upon the clamping and cutting of the cord, which also also could be defined as a fault, F-A-U-L-T. Now, by claiming a birthday, you're at fault. What happens when you go all the way back to fertilization and you say all present and accounted for from fertilization to last breath? Then it's not your fault.
Yep.
I'll read the first line of the letter so people go ahead. All right. The first line of the letter says, the moment dad's sperm fertilizes mom's ovum, the moment of divine creation, the moment I am physically and spiritually assembled, I am, for all intents and purposes, first in time. This knowledge is your fair warning. So first in time is everything. Toby, the zygote. I didn't exist before the zygote. My biology exists upon fertilization and the creation of the zygote. Is there anything regarding my own existence prior to the zygote? Uh-oh. Am I cut off?
No, you're here.
Okay.
He might be away. No, there's
No,
nothing.
Toby's away.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's just
Hold on,
muted.
sorry, yeah.
Well, you're not washing the dishes or anything, right? You're not mowing the grass?
No, the dog weren't drinking water either. I don't know what.
Well, my point is that I asked you a question.
Sorry, there was for some reason people was coming in unmuted, and I was just muted myself to go along to make sure everyone was muted, and then I still muted myself. Sorry. Yeah. Dad's sperm.
No. I mean, is there anything regarding you, your 46 chromosome existence? Is there anything prior to the zygote regarding you specifically?
No.
No. Thank you, Nita.
Sorry, I did say no. I don't know if it's gone quiet or not.
Yeah, it was, you need to be very, very definite. First in time is everything. I mean, think about this. The moment dad's sperm fertilizes mom's ovum, what was your name?
Didn't have one.
No, because nobody even knew you existed yet.
No.
Nobody, and I mean nobody. Not mom, not dad. Nobody knew it. No court, no church, no state. Nobody knew it. It's first in time. There's nothing prior to that. The moment of creation, the moment you exist, all that is the I am. I am is probably more than that. It's probably recognizing the fact that you were created at fertilization. But that's my point. There is no middleman. There's nobody there except God, if you want to look at it that way. So the moment of creation, no name, not even a clock, no clocks, no calendars, no nothing. You're there, you exist. Tell me what court has jurisdiction over that moment. Name one. Somebody please name a court.
None.
So when you're arguing jurisdiction, you cannot know this. There's no jurisdiction for that moment of creation. There's no jurisdiction for the supreme being created at that moment. The only way we give them jurisdiction is by disavowing or disconnecting from God. The moment we go back to fertilization, the moment we recognize the zygote as our origin, there's no jurisdiction over that. There's no court that has a legitimate claim upon that creation. That's what I'm getting at. Look at how simple this is. You're going to sit there and argue with these idiots in these courtrooms over jurisdiction? There's no jurisdiction over a supreme being from fertilization, last breath, unbroken, uncut, no fault. There is none. It's that simple. So again, my first line is the moment dad's sperm fertilizes mom's ovum, the moment of divine creation, the moment I am physically and spiritually assembled, I am, for all intents and purposes, first in time. That's it. That's the entire thing. Because the next paragraph down, I put a quote in there from a gentleman, Lawrence Berger, from an analysis of the doctrine that first in time is first in right. And this is the paragraph. Tell me that there's anything outside of this paragraph. If you're first in time, this paragraph is on your side. If you claim a birthday, this paragraph is against you. So look at the notion that first in time is first in right is an ancient one. It determines the resolution of numerous human conflicts, both in law and custom. The legal rules about finding, water rights, nuisance, prescription, patents, wild animals, creditors' rights, franchises, recording and priorities in realty, and scores of other issues are wholly or partially governed by it. People follow it as unwritten law in their social interaction. So first in time is everything. And there's nothing prior to the creation of the zygote. There is no court for the living supreme being. By the way, when I say supreme being, I'm talking about from fertilization to last breath. The supreme being is your presence from fertilization to last breath. That's your spirit, that's your breath. As long as you have the breath of God, the spirit in you from fertilization to last breath, that's the supreme being position. Being is nothing more than presence. And the supreme presence, the supreme being, is the presence of God the whole time. The breath. It's that simple. People are going to overcomplicate this. I already know. Listen, I got to say this before I forget it. There's some idiots, and I hope they're on this fucking call. I hope they are, because they're gonna be ashamed of themselves the moment they hear this. Because people take what I say and then they make shit up. They just make it up. I saw somebody, really beautiful website, which means somebody had money, or somebody was given money, or somebody was granted money to put a website together. I can't afford anything. I'm telling all this stuff, but I can't afford anything. But there's people out there that are putting websites together and entire organizations together in just a month or two. Where's that money coming from? Who are these people? Well, anyway, there's somebody out there that has got this beautiful website. God, I wish I had something like that. I'll be honest with you. But this website actually says you get to pretend, you get to pick. Because the birthday itself is 280 days, 260 days later, you know, after outside the womb, they're saying, listen, you were created at fertilization. You get to make up a birthday. You can just make one up. Just make it up and put it here at this website. And from this moment on, we in this website organization are gonna say that's your birthday. Listen, for those people that even use the word birth, they don't know creation. Creation is not a birth. Fertilization is not a fucking birth, you idiots. When I saw this, they were taking my ideas and saying, listen, just make up a birthday somewhere around the time of fertilization. Just make it up, and that'll be your birthday. And then we're going to use that birthday. That's what we're going to say is your birthday. We're going to get away from the state's pretending. We're going to get away from the state's creation. And we're just going to make some more shit up that we want to be true.
And while you're
It's
on
not going to
that
be.
note, that other bozo who stole your
Yeah, there's a book out there that a zygote is a single cell. I'm the oak tree to that acorn. I'm the product, the final product, but I'm not the zygote. So there's a book out there that stole a bunch of my ideas, and just to get a book out in front of mine to sell to morons that would buy it. Who's a fuck? Which one of you listening to this call right now is a single cell zygote? What idiot would buy a book that says I am the zygote? You see how stupid this is? But there are people out there taking these ideas and trying to make money on them, or worse, misleading people and talking and saying that creation and birthdays are the same thing. They're not. The fucking definition of birth isn't creation.
And underneath where he writes on the cover of the book, you are the zygote, he uses the infamous all present and accounted for from fertilization till last breath. This book was published in 2023, just so you know.
It came out a month before right of way. And by the way, everything in there is distorted or wrong. So again, I have to fix everything all these idiots are out there breaking.
But it's controlled opposition have all this funding, isn't it? Controlled opposition or for distraction purposes.
It could people out there that want to make money on other people's ideas. I mean, he didn't even attribute that statement, all present and accounted for, to me. It might be in the book somewhere, but I can't even, the thought of touching that book makes me physically sick because it's so wrong on so many levels. You know, it's so wrong on so many levels that I can't touch it. I can't look at it. I don't want to look through it. I can't.
The only
thought of it
beautiful
makes
thing about that is the truth is going to become apparent. It's all and all of your work and all of the work that all of us have done is going to be in the public domain one day very soon. And that man is going to have to hang his head in shame because he put his name to somebody else's work, creating copyright theft as well on top of his imbecile behavior.
Well, here's what's really bad is when people use my name and say, thank you, Kurt, for this information, and then say, make up your own fucking birthday. That's where controlled opposition could be, Toby. It could be because they're trying to put my name on shit that doesn't make any sense. You know, you don't get to make, but again, the moment of creation, i.e. fertilization of the ovum and creation, the product being the zygote, at that moment, that's not birth. That's not a birth. It's not a birthday. Now you can think of implantation into the uterine wall. You can think of conception or implantation into the uterine wall as creating a birth, a space. You know what I mean? So my zygote / conceptus 7 days later could go into the uterine wall, and you could call that a birth into the uterine wall, but that's not creation. That's still 7 days after creation. So they're taking these ideas and I don't know why they're doing them because only idiots would follow this shit.
But the thing is, Kurt, the reason why a lot of these organisations do that is by means because you are a threat, a blatant threat, which is evidently clear. So it's by a means to discredit what you're saying because it's trying to throw people off. that's the only reason I can see logical.
Inga has a beautiful statement up there in comments, and it has to be said, what she said. Birth is medical malpractice. That's what Inga has commented, and she is 100% correct. Birth is medical malpractice. So go ahead, knock yourself out.
But you're trading one pretense for another. I
Mhm.
mean, again, if I go back, I'll tell you. In fact, it's really funny because if you take September 19th, 1960, and you go back the number of days roughly that the moment of fertilization would have occurred. I'm not even joking now. I'm not even joking. This is actually, a smile is now forming on my face because if you go back to, I mean, the amount of days from fertilization all the way, that number of days all the way back up to forward in time, up to September 19th, 1960, it comes to about or around probably within a week of tomorrow, December 25th. So in that organization that's saying just pick a birthday, that's 280 days or 264 days or whatever, prior to coming out of the womb and cutting the cord, for me, that'd be December 25th. It almost is comical.
But
because you go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. The funny thing was, I worked mine out the other day, and mine's it's on there's the 9th of October, and I worked it back 280 days, and the result come back in as Thursday, the 2nd of January, 1975. So I screenshotted it. I sent it to my mum. I said, "Looks like I was a Christmas/New Year's Eve baby," with a laughing face. And she messaged me back and saying, "Dangerous time of year." Did it again 2 years later because my brother's like my younger brother's like a week after me.
Well, it's funny because I have 5 brothers and sisters, and we were born in only 2 months. September, or we came out of the womb in only 2 months, September and May, which is funny, which tells you when all activity was occurring. But I guess the point is, you can't make this shit up. The moment of creation is not something I arbitrarily choose. It happened at an exact moment. And so people that are just making shit up now are no better than the state or the church making shit up. You're still mentally ill to just make shit up. It's all pretend. So if you have chosen to participate in these organizations where they're saying make up your own birth 280 days later, it's not true either.
Why would you want to put a date to it?
Well, most people are trying to do this. They have some piece of paper that says the birthday that the state's holding them to is not true, but it doesn't. You can't do that. Paper doesn't mean anything. The reality is, I was in the waters of mother when fertilization occurs. Nobody knows when that moment is, except we'll say the word God here, the moment of creation. It doesn't have anything to do with my desires, my wishes. It's nature. It's an act of God in nature that has nothing to do with my will. Nothing. It has nothing to do with my will. I didn't choose anything. It happened in nature, which is outside of all of man's bullshit. So pick one. Pick nature or man's bullshit, but you can't have both. You got to pick one. If you want to suffer through man's bullshit, hey, keep playing, keep making shit up, or just accept the truth, accept nature for what it is, and go, hey, listen, I only have one leg. Hey, listen, I'm only 4'6" tall. Hey, listen, you know what I mean? Just accept the truth and move on. Just move on. That's nature. And by the way, when you finally accept this shit, things get easy again. It's fighting against nature that causes all our grief.
Yeah.
Truth is easy because it already is. Let me say that again. Truth is easy because it already is. You don't get to make it up, contrary to most people's ideas, especially this woke world that we're forced to suffer.
Right. Yeah, it was right. We're going to there was a statement question on here to do. Let me just scroll back up. I saw. Yeah, Jason saying it's a Game of Thrones. Look up throne on Merriam-Webster. And I remember
What's the word?
it was Game of Thrones, and that was
Oh,
filmed
yeah.
in Northern Ireland. When I went up to go and when I was seeing a friend up there a while back, he took me on a tour around Northern Ireland. So the film Game of Thrones was actually filmed in a lot of settings up in just on the outskirts of Belfast.
My favorite show ever made on television, and that has some subliminal programming in it. With the girl has no name, a girl has no name, Arya Stark. It's amazing. Yeah, everyone should do the Game of Thrones exhibition.
Yeah, I watched that. I actually read the books, so
Better again.
better again. You're correct. But the point
When
is,
you come over here, Kurt, we'll bring you on the tour where it all happened up the north here.
well, let's just look at the word throne for a second. A throne is a seat, S-E-A-T. Take a seat, take a throne. The implantation, when you plant into the wall of the uterus, it's like I was a jeweler for 15 years, and when I would put a stone in a ring, they would call it setting the stone or seating the stone. So, and of course, the word stone, I would set or seat the stone. Well, I know that the placenta, or that part, is considered a stone. And of course, stone or rock is also a threshold, or a threshold is a stone. So the threshold between the unborn and born, we leave behind a stone marker, and that stone is the placenta. Now, also that stone, because it has beliefs attached to it, it becomes a philosopher's stone. So in other words, if you believe stuff, the philosophy built into that stone, that placenta, now they can actually work with you or work through you through your belief system, because that placenta becomes the philosopher's stone. Also, that stone has my father's name in it, the sword. Now you have the sword in the stone, which is my father's name, is now attached to that placental stone. Only the rightful owner of that property can remove the father's name from that placental stone, and that's me. So when I come along and I know the truth all the way back to fertilization, then I can take my father's name off of that stone. I can take the sword out of that stone and wield it for myself. That's me now legitimizing my claim to my father's name. I'm now legitimate. I'm no longer the orphan. So all of these things, the philosopher's stone, the Excalibur, or the sword in the stone, it's all the same stuff, because the stone is the placenta. Okay, somebody needs to mute themselves, because I'm gonna stop talking.
Yeah, sorry, some news just come in. I've just seen it. I don't know how that is. I suppose everyone's supposed to come in. It's supposed to be muted, but.
What's the name of that stone outside the church with the placenta on it? Remember, I sent it to you a while back.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the church, but it's in the city of London.
I'll go have a look in your messenger there and see if I can get it and put it in.
Yeah, that's again, also the ball and chain. If you are claiming the birthday, then the umbilical cord and the placenta becomes a ball and chain. It becomes a hindrance. It slows you down, because you're carrying the burden of your infancy still. You're lacking capacity because of that infancy. The movie The Matrix means mother. So as long as you're still attached to mother through the umbilical cord or through the birth certificated character, you're stuck in the matrix. You're stuck in the uterine wall. You're stuck to mom, and that makes you a mama's boy with no legal capacity. It's all the same stuff all the time. It really is this easy. But sure enough, somebody's going to take this and do something stupid and try to manipulate something, when in reality, all you have to do is keep telling the truth. Just keep telling the truth, all present and accounted for from fertilization to last breath. Eventually, these guys, this system, this house of cards, it's a house of cards. Why is it a card? Because the birth Day card is the birth certificate, because the Christ Mass card is the birth certificate. It's a house of cards, and the card is the birth certificate. Everything they're doing is based upon this cutting of the umbilical cord and the separation between reality and which gives rise to the alternate universe. By the way, what's the definition of universe or universal? Catholic. So again, the universe that they're dealing with is the Catholic Church, the Catholic system. The Gregorian calendar is a Catholic world. It's civil. That's the civil character is born to the Gregorian calendar. And that character, the birth certificated civil character, is subject to those administrative courts. So again, once you get back to reality, by the way, I'm not saying this is going to work out very well, because, you know, the nature of man, look around you. Look around at us. We're a bunch of pigs. We are monkeys. Collectively, look around. I don't want to be associated with most of the people I know or see. I drive down the street and I see nothing but trash in the streets. I mean, do you shit in your own well? We do. Animals don't. We do. Humans are pigs. I mean, it's embarrassing. I don't want to be party to this crap. I don't want to be associated with these animals. But I'm stuck because my biology is the same as everybody else's. So now I have to, even though I've ascended beyond mentally, I've ascended beyond most people's beliefs by a long shot. I'm stuck with the lowest common denominator. I'm stuck down here in a cesspool of idiots. And if you get angry with me when I say something, it's because you agree with me. And you accept that you're an idiot. You accept you're a monkey. You accept that you're a pig. When I say pig, by the way, you know what's funny is when I call everybody pigs, I don't get offended. If somebody called me a pig, I wouldn't be offended because I know I'm not. If somebody called me a monkey, I wouldn't get offended because I know I'm not. The only people that get offended is when they know it's true, when it applies to them. That's the only reason you get mad, is because you know you are the pig, you are the monkey, you are the chump. Once you get past it, you're not offended. So I mean, if you don't like what I'm saying, it's because it applies to you. And I remember my wife years ago saying, Kurt, you need to do something about your delivery, man. Nobody's going to like you at all. Hey, that's not my job. I'm not here to be liked. I mean, I'll tell one more story about years ago. I was a drug rep, a real drug rep, which is probably worse than the street corner drug rep. Drug dealer. I sold pharmaceuticals. This is funny. I may have told you, Toby. In fact, I just want people to know why I do what I do, because this is how I am. I was coming back into town. It was a Friday. It was in the 1990s, mid 1990s, probably 90. You see, my son was born in 92. 94. It was probably around 90, 93, 94. I was coming into town. It was a Friday afternoon, about 4:00. So a lot of cars on the road, and I was stopped at a stoplight. There was a strip mall to my right. I was on the outside lane, so my car was toward the curb. There were three or four cars in front of me at the stoplight. So I'm like the fourth car back or fifth car back, and it's a red light. And while I'm sitting there, now I have a 3 or 4 year old at home at this time, and I'm watching this little blonde-headed boy, skipping down the sidewalk. And I'm coming in, I'm done for the day. I'm coming into town, and it's a Friday afternoon, and there's lots of cars in the street. It's a busy street, by the way. But I'm watching this little boy skip down the sidewalk, and it dawned on me, he shouldn't be by himself, because I had one like him at home. I mean, probably the same age exactly. They look the same, little blonde-headed kid. And so I'm looking at him, and I realize there's no adult. There's no adult. There's no mature person with him. And I'm concerned. I look at the cars in front of me. I look through my windshield, and I look at the guys in front of me. They're watching him too now, because now he's about a car and a half ahead of me, and they see the little boy. I look in my rear view, and everybody's looking at this little boy. The light turns green. The cars in front of me take off. I put my car in park, and I got out. As soon as I did that, this little boy had left the sidewalk. He was playing in the grass between the sidewalk and the street curb or the curb, but now he's at the curb about to step off into the street, about 2 cars in front of me. The cars are already gone now. Now there's no cars in front of me. This kid's about to step into the street. My car's in park. I get out, I step out, I scream at him. Hey! And he freezes on the curb. He doesn't even go into the street. He freezes there. And I yell at him again. And then I think he started crying. And I left my car in the street. I walked around, I picked him up. Now I was used to picking up a 3-year-old because I had one at home. And again, my awareness, the level of my awareness was because I had one at home. If I was driving a Volkswagen, I'd see Volkswagens all over town. I had a 3-year-old at home. I see 3-year-olds everywhere. Well, this kid, I picked him up, and I was familiar with the neighborhood because I grew up about 7 blocks from here. So I really knew the neighborhood. I knew where I was at. I looked around, and there's mostly apartment buildings, but I knew there were some houses back there. So I walked through the apartments. And sure enough, I come to a fence, about a 5-foot wooden fence. You couldn't see through it. It wasn't chain link. It was wooden. But I look over the top of it, and in that backyard are some moms running around looking like they're in panic. There was another little blonde-headed boy that looked similar to the one that I was holding, but younger. And I realized this little boy probably lives here. And they're panicking now for the first time because they just realized this kid was missing. And so I yelled to the woman that was in panic mode, and I said, "Are you missing something?" And she runs over to the fence, sobbing. And I hand the boy over the fence, and I was so angry. I was angry because it took him this long to notice that the boy was missing. He was already stepping into the street before they probably even knew he was missing. My point is that I screamed at the boy. He froze. He stopped moving because I yelled at him. That's what I'm doing. That's all I do anymore is I yell at everybody. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs with this information, with this light. I'm shining this light as bright as I can, but people keep fucking stepping into the goddamn traffic. They're not listening. Nobody gives a shit. They're all asleep. But what's really interesting is this boy is probably the same age as my son, who's 31 now. Assuming this kid's still alive. Assuming he's still alive. But the thing is he won't remember that. He won't remember some strange 40-year-old man, picking him up off the curb and bringing him to his mom. He'll never remember that. But I probably saved his life that day. That's what I feel like I'm doing right now, is doing the same shit with a bunch of people that actually don't even care. Most people don't even care. But I'm going to continue to scream and holler until enough people, until I'm able to stop. Because that's what it feels like to me. It feels like I'm keeping people from stepping off the curb into traffic. And I do mean traffic, by the way. Anyway, I'm not going to change my voice. I'm not going to change my approach. I can't, because I got you guys now. And you guys are better. You're better equipped than I am. I didn't have to change. And I found you guys, or you found me, and now you guys get to be the kinder, gentler army, or the kinder, gentler version. I'm still going to do what I do. So sorry about that. Anyway, that's my story. That's what I'm getting at. I can't change.
Don't stop what you're doing, for God's sake. Yeah.
And you're literally, for God's sake, you're absolutely right. And I'm not even a religious guy. Let people know that up front. I'm not a religious guy, but I absolutely positively am 100% connected to nature and reality and the act of God and nature called creation, which is fertilization, by the way, and not conception and not implantation and not pregnancy and not birthdays.
The trouble we're up against is that people are so dependent on the system, isn't it? That they don't want to leave. They don't want to. Yeah, they're comfortable, and that's just the battle that we're up against. Is these people that are so dependent, where they've just been conditioned, institutionalized by the system, which is obviously all that, which is their game plan all throughout. I went to where I go and take my dog for a walk down the park. There's a little coffee stand thing there, and they have different people in there. And obviously, it's a university kids or whatever. It's probably minimum wage or whatever they're getting paid. And there's one leg down there, and I said, "How old are you, mate?" He's 19. Got chatting to him about all of this